Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to look at the zeros of a polynomial. To get started, let us consider a polynomial p of x, which is equal to x minus 5. Now, I'm going to find out the value of this polynomial by taking some x. Okay, let's say x is equal to 5. When I plug in the value of x into my polynomial, I shall get the following: 5 minus 5, which is equal to 0. Okay, so the value of the polynomial p of x at x is equal to 5 is a 0. So we can see that when I plugged in my value of x as 5, I got my polynomial to be a 0. Okay, so I can call 5 as 0 of polynomial. Now, why am I saying 5 is a 0 of polynomial? Because 5 made my polynomial equal to 0. Okay, so in general, I can say that a 0 of a polynomial is any number that can make polynomial p of x equal to a 0. Okay, so basically zeros are what? They are values of x. So zeros are values of x. Okay, to understand in the most simplest form, you can just remember that zeros are values of x that is making the polynomial equal to 0. Okay, so we should consider a few examples and see how this works out. P of x is equal to 5x minus pi at x is equal to 4 by 5. We are supposed to check if this number that they have given is a 0 of a polynomial p of x. Okay, now how do we do that? We are supposed to see when I use this value, plug it into the place of x and solve this, I'm supposed to get this p of x equal to 0. Okay, if it is so, this will become the 0 of a polynomial. If not, that won't be the 0 of a polynomial. Okay, let's get started then. So p of 4 over 5 will be equal to 5 times 5 minus pi. So this gets cancelled. So 5 times 1, 5 times 1. We are left with 4 minus pi, which is not equal to 0. Hence, I conclude 4 over 5 is not the 0 of polynomial. Now, for the second question, they are asking if x is equal to minus 1 and 2 are the zeros of the polynomial for polynomial q of x. Okay, so I'm just going to take the first one. At x is equal to minus 1, my q of minus 1 will be minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 minus 2. That is going to give me a 0. Minus 1 plus 1, 0. Minus 3, which is nothing but a 0. So minus 1, yes, it passed the check. It gave the value of the polynomial as 0. Hence, minus 1 is the 0 of a polynomial. Let's check for the next one. At x is equal to 2. Q of 2 will be equal to 2 plus 1, 2 minus 2, which is nothing but 3, and a 0, which is equal to 0. So again, I am getting a 0 as the value for my polynomial. Hence, I can conclude minus 1 and 2 are the zeros of polynomial. Okay, so that's how we see if particular number given can be a zero of a polynomial for that particular polynomial or not. Now let us try finding out what will be the zero of a polynomial given polynomial. All right. So I have a polynomial given. I'm supposed to find out what is that one value, that number. When I plug it into this polynomial, I should get my value of polynomial as zero. Okay. They haven't given me the polynomial, so I'm supposed to find it out, right? How do we do that? We know the condition that a polynomial p of x should be equal to 0 in order to say that the number is a 0 for polynomial. So I'm going to start with that condition. So I'm going to say p of x is equal to 0. What is the value of p of x here? 3x minus 2 equal to 0. I'm going to find out the value of x here, okay? And x, 3x is equal to positive 2, x will be 2 over 3. So this is the zero of polynomial for this polynomial. Okay. Now, when I just to verify, right? Let's just verify if it works. So I'm gonna take p of 2 over 3, plug it into my polynomial. 3 times 2 over 3 minus 2. 3 gets cancelled. 2 minus 2, which is equal to 0. So yes, the verification is complete. Okay, so this is all about what and how we're supposed to find out. Let us try a few more examples and yeah, so q of x is equal to x plus 5. Here I am going to take 5 is equal to 0. I'm skipping the step mentioned here. Okay, maybe I'll just write q of x will be equal to 0. So x plus 5 is equal to 0. X will be equal to of negative of 5. Okay, so this negative of phi is my zero of polynomial. Now here we have another example. Let's say t of x will be equal to 0, ax will be 0. Okay, so x, I'm going to find out the value of x, right? So I'm going to send this to the other side, or I'm going to divide both the sides with a. Sorry, I'm going to get a 0. So for this polynomial, 0 is my 0 of a polynomial. Okay, now I know there's like a lot of zeros going on, so I don't want you to get confused between the value that I'm getting and the value that it is being called as. Okay, all right, so far so good. We understood what is a zero of a polynomial, how do you find one, and how do you verify if a number is given, right? Now let's just have a peek into what a zero of polynomial is. We know that it is the value of x that makes the polynomial equal to 0, right? Value x, where p of x will be equal to 0. Now, what if there is a value of x and p of x is not equal to 0? Then what? We actually don't really have any special name given to it as we have over here called as a zero of polynomial. We don't really have any other name given to them, okay? It's just a value, all right? Let's take an example. P of x is equal to x minus 5. I'll take x is equal to 2. So I'll get minus 3, okay? So minus 3 is, or the negative 3 that we are getting as the answer for the polynomial is just a value, okay? It's nothing special. So what is so special about the zeros of a polynomial, the value of x that is making the polynomial 0? It is actually very helpful when it comes to your applications, right? Your real life importance. It has a lot of implications, like it has you in physics, in business, maybe in engineering and stuff like that. Okay, so that's a little deeper stuff. Let's not get into that. Coming back to the zeros of a polynomial, let's have a graphical outlook on how the zeros of a polynomial look like. Okay, considering a graph, any value that falls on the x-axis, the line, the x-axis, that is your zeros of the polynomial. Okay, it is the most simplest thing that I can tell. So when I write p of x is equal to, let's take an example, x minus 5, it is the same thing as y is equal to x minus 5. So I'm basically finding out the value of x in order to find out the value of y, value of x to find the value of y. Okay, so I graphically, when I say my zeros of a polynomial are the points that lie on the x-axis such that the value of y-axis is equal to 0. So it is something like my x-axis and my y-axis. This is your zero of polynomial. Okay. Let's take a few more examples and understand visually how do you recognize zeros of a polynomial. Okay. Um, I'll give you a set of. All right. So here, how about I and maybe okay. In the first one, the first graph, if you can see, there are 2 points at which the line or your equation or your line is intersecting the x-axis. Okay, so there are two zeros of polynomial for this graph or for this polynomial. Okay, and with respect to this, there's only one point at which the line is intersecting the x-axis. So there's only one zero of polynomial. Okay, considering a few more examples, maybe let's say I have this. Okay, and maybe another graph which is like this. Okay, so here I can see that it is intersecting at 1, 2, 3, 4. So this line is intersecting my x-axis at 4 different points. So 4 different points will be the zeros of the polynomials. We don't know the value yet. All right, we just know that there are 4 points that it is intersecting at, or there are 4 different zeros of polynomials for this line. I'm not telling the values because I just can't make out the values using this type of a graph. It's just a visual representation of how you can identify what is or what is zero of polynomial, how you can identify one. Okay, so there are zero of polynomial zeros of polynomial for this polynomial line, right, or equation. And over here it is only one. So you just have one zero of polynomial. We don't know the value though. All right. So yeah, that is with the graphical representation. Now let's take an example. We'll take a few different examples. P of x is equal to x minus 5. I'll take q of x is equal to x square minus 2x plus 5. And maybe t of x is equal to x cube minus 3x square plus 2x minus 10. Okay, now there is another thing that you can just say by looking at these polynomials. Now, as we know, this is a linear polynomial, this is a quadratic, this is a cubic, right? Now, with respect to this, a linear polynomial will have only one zero of polynomials. Okay, a quadratic can have two or less than 2. Similarly, for cubic, it can have 3 or less than 3. So number of zeros of a polynomial is 2 or less than 2. And for the cubic, number of zeros of polynomials is 3 or less than 3. Okay. All right. So that will be it for today's understanding of zeros of polynomials. Most of the basics of zeros of polynomials have been covered. I hope you understood. And if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching.